Neil Blitz, and from Adriano Soares from Borough of South River.
Nick Smolny will move it.
Thank you, Nick. Do we have a second?
Pat McGarren.
Thank you very much. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, Carol, our Division of Solid Waste Management report, please.
Okay. So we finished up our first half of the year's events, and they're all going well and are pretty well attended. So we will resume the paper and household hazardous waste events in September. Just a reminder for our town coordinators, when you guys share our Facebook posts announcing the events, it seems to generate more participation. So we thank those of you who have been able to do that, and ask those who haven't if you could please do your best to share our Facebook posts. A reminder for our Clean Communities coordinators, the annual reports are due July 31st. Always remember that there's a little bit of wiggle room on that, so don't panic if you can't get it down by the end of July. Just try and get it done in August at the latest. Give me a call if you need any help. A note from Carol Broccoli. Carol Broccoli from Rutgers, I think most of you know she is retiring at the end of the year. They have not yet named a replacement, but she is asking for ease of transition for the next person. If you have accumulated all of the CRP credits that you need to be certified, if you can send her down that paperwork early, the sooner the better, so that this way she can get that paperwork done and get you guys your cards out for the next 2-year session. On to Andrew. Information. The Association of New Jersey Recyclers is having another webinar on July 23rd. The topic of this webinar is going to be composting. You have to register, which you can do so on the anjr.com website. There is a fee to attend, and it's about an hour-and-a-half webinar, and you will get recycling certification credits for that. Also on the Andrew front, Andrew has been monitoring a bunch of legislation and working on a few projects of note. The only bill that Andrew was looking at that made it through the full Senate is S 3399, which requires recycling of solar energy generating facilities and structures. So that puts the onus on DEP to kind of determine what that's going to look like. But again, that's made it through the full Senate. It hasn't gone anywhere on the Assembly side yet. On the bottle bill, there is now a substitute for S 3147. So that we're in summer recess, so that's not going to be heard again until the fall. EPR, there was also a substitute, so that bill was completely renumbered and is now S 3398. And then the other two bills that Andrew is looking at is one that would require counties to adopt an amendment to the plan, either via plan amendment or now newly amended via administrative action, to specify how we can reduce food waste generated in the county. That bill number is S 2426 and A 2090. That has not made it through either of the full houses yet. It made it through a committee on each side, but is now sitting in another committee. And then the last one, which kind of coincides with the project that Andrew has been working on since really the beginning of the year, is truth in labeling, which would require certain conditions to be made before a manufacturer could put a this item is a recyclable label on a product. So Andrew, about a year or so ago, started working on trying to take the report that was the Recycling Markets Development Council report and put it into action, for lack of better words. Take some of the recommendations and see if they could run with them. So one of the recommendations was to look at truth in labeling and proposed legislation, and that turned into morphing into recycling is too confusing in the state of New Jersey. Every county has different lists for what's a recyclable item and what's not a recyclable item. So that turned into a pretty extensive project. First, all of the counties were surveyed to determine what materials the counties were all accepting in their curbside collection, and then we just started going over and surveying the MRFs. So Pat, you can listen to this because Wayne will be reaching out to you to see what items that Colgate takes. So we have a list of three different lists basically, and actually I'll just share my screen because it's probably easier to do that than having everybody look. So hopefully you can see that on the screen, I'm hoping. So these are the preliminary results. In the first column, yes, accepted curbside. This is what the MRFs are telling us that they will all accept curbside. And again, this is not all of the MRFs in New Jersey because we're in the process of doing that survey. So it's pretty similar to what we in Middlesex County. The differences are that all of the MRFs are telling us that they accept number 5s, and we have not mandated number 5s in Middlesex County. We also, on pulp packaging, we haven't mandated pulp packaging to be recycled in our county either. We do accept mandate box board cereal boxes and non-metallic gift wrap. Some of the other counties in the state don't. So those items in orange are kind of where the differences are still, where some counties don't actually mandate those items. The not accepted curbside list is a little bit longer, and it includes most materials that you would expect nobody wants to accept. Ceramic mugs and cookware and non-container glass like mirrors and windows, all kinds of oddball plastic items, including other types of plastic and polystyrene, scrap metal, batteries, and the strange things that you guys get as facility owners, diapers, who would think, and then things with embedded batteries. And then the third list is going to be a more, depends on the facility, and residents are going to be told you have to check locally. So these are items where there is no agreement within the MRFs right now as to whether they want them or don't want them, or can only sort of accept them in limited quantities. So think clamshell containers, coffee pods. Some facilities are actually taking coffee pods, squeezable tubes like toothpaste tubes, pill bottles, which are small that fall through a lot of the lines at these facilities. Paint cans, aluminum foil, aluminum sheets, pizza boxes, which I know our coordinators are very familiar with. And that's an item that nobody can seem to agree on. So that's where we are. Angier has to submit a report to Senator Smith by September. So this whole list is going to be turned into a report with recommendations. But I wanted to give you guys kind of a little bit of a heads up on it, because what will probably happen is that Angier will go back to the counties that aren't accepting all of the materials that are on the MRFs accept these materials, and say, hey, can you guys change your mandated materials and add in the items that you're not already taking. So expect that I'll be coming back in October with a little bit more information on that. And that is my very long report, but I am done.
Thank you, Carol. And just to amplify Carol's excellent report, it is going to be a really busy fall legislative agenda. I don't think there's any question about that. And I think the biggest bill front and center will be EPR. And I don't think, even though it was renumbered, it was changed very much from the earlier version, right, Carol?
Right. It's very similar.
Yeah, and the truth in labeling survey work that Carol went through is actually a precursor to a needs assessment for any EPR bill. So it's really important work. It's really great work that Angier is doing. Let me open the floor. Any questions for Carol?
Yeah, it's interesting though, I didn't mention this. This is the first time in I'm be here 35 years tomorrow. This is the first time that the state anybody in the state has attempted a survey across the whole entire state to see what the MRFs take and what the counties take, and to see if we can try and match that up.
Yeah,
Long time overdue.
Long time overdue, and I hope that the MRFs can get together more frequently to sort of coordinate our efforts, legislative and for the good of recycling. So I think it was a great first step. Okay, then seeing no questions for Carol, let's move on to our agency reports. Do we have a representative from the DEP for a DEP report today?
I did not see anybody.
Yeah, I couldn't see anyone either. Okay, well then we'll move on to the Environmental Division Solid Waste Enforcement Report. Brianne Peters, I think you're going to give the report today, Brianne. Yes, thank you for joining us.
Yes, hi. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. All right, thanks for having me. I'm going to share my screen if that's all right. Let's figure out how if I can share. Okay. All right. All right, let's go back. All right, can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
All right,
Yes.
awesome. All right, so the reason why I'm presenting today is because I am the inspector for Middlesex County, their convenience center. So I figured we're seeing a lot of things that folks may not know about, specifically to recycling exemptions. So instead of just doing blanketed violations, we just wanted to go step by step to just show what we can do better, what we can do just to make sure that we're not giving those violations out, because the key is to make sure everybody's on the same page so we can make sure we're doing the right thing. So recycling depots, convenience centers, and recycling exemptions, hat tip to Ross, the DEP, for starting this PowerPoint for us many years ago. So let's see. All right, recycling depots per NJAC annotated code. Just overview: facility designed and operated for recycling and temporarily storing for a period not to exceed 2 months. Class A recycling materials, so all those regular single stream recycling materials or non-container plastic materials prior to their transport to a recycling center or end market. So again, that's more of a transfer, but specifically Class A single stream materials. Processing of recyclables is not permitted at recycling depots. I really don't inspect. This is not something I have an issue with, but I just figured I'd leave this on here to review that with everyone today. Convenience centers. This is where I am seeing some issues, seeing some confusion. So just to review, a convenience center or recycling center is a site where one or more containers are located for temporary storage of solid waste and or recyclable materials brought to the site by persons transporting only their own household solid waste and or recyclable materials in passenger automobiles bearing general registration plates. So I don't want to see anything that says omnibus on it, any of those U-Haul trucks, things that are commercial vehicles, things of that nature. Same thing with your municipal trucks. If we see municipal trucks pulling up to dump your brush in the household brush pile, that's the things that we're calling our attention to. Okay, so only residents are permitted to bring recyclables to our convenience centers, and processing of recyclables, same, is not permitted at convenience centers. That includes baling. That's also processing. Okay. Recycling exemptions: who, what, when, where, why. So what is a recycling exemption? So if one can follow the criteria listed at recycling exemption regulations, they are exempt from having to get included in the district's solid waste management plan and a general or limited approval from the DEP. So what that means is, in accordance with state regulations, some recycling activities require approval before operating. And if the recycling activity is already in the solid waste management plan, the activity may commence without first obtaining approval. But the things we're talking about today, you have to get that approval. Excuse me, my lights went out in the office. One moment. All right. Energy efficient building, doesn't, you know.
You have to wave your hands around every once in a while.
All
I
right.
find. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. All right. Do I need an exemption? Does this apply to you? All right. Do you keep or want to keep asphalt, brush, or leaves on your property? Many of you are, maybe thinking yes. Does your staff bring the material to the site? Does it come in municipal trucks? Do you process or bale any material on site? If you answered yes, then you needed exemption. So things like brush and leaves. I know that a lot of your sites, you have your residents come in your their own household trucks or vans or cars. That is fine. That is part of your local convenience center. Do not worry about it. If that is the case, that is fine. That is part of your convenience center. You don't need an exemption. Otherwise, if it's coming back, you pick up residents' leaves or grass or brush from the side of the road, then you do need an exemption. Commonly conducted exemptions. Generation, processing, reuse of material, receipt, storage, processing of tree parts, tires, leaf mulching on a farm, yard trimming, and composting, yard trimming, composting on a farm, receipt and temporary transfer of leaves, concrete, asphalt, brick, and or block, and small leaf or grass transfers. So the ones that I have underlined are the ones that I'm really seeing a lot of, and that's why I really wanted to call your attention to it and why I'm speaking here today. So hopefully everybody's paying attention. So when I go back and visit your site in a few months, I'm not going to see a lot of the same issues. So how do we get exemptions? So we're going to submit applications or notifications through Middlesex County Solid Waste Management. The application is free, but yes, it's paperwork. You're going to fill out 3 or 4 pages of a 10-page document, and you're going to reach out to Carol for more information. I have left her email here. I will also include it at the end of this presentation, so you cannot tell us that you do not know how to contact her. But yes, I understand paperwork is tedious and oftentimes long, but please, I would rather you fill it out beforehand than get the violation at the end, because our goal here is not to give the violation. Our goal here is to make sure everybody is doing the right thing so that you can continue going about your days and helping the folks in the community. Exemption criteria. Compliance with operational criteria, volumetric capacity, duration, on-site versus off-site use. Like examples of this, brush, it's got to be within 75 cubic yards on-site. It's got to be kept neat. That's a lot. That is a lot if you actually think about it or see it. It's got to be less than 1% debris. Asphalt, it must be contained on at least 3 sides. So those Jersey barriers are fine. It's got to be on an impermeable surface. So anything that's not going to leak the asphalt, honestly, asphalt is gross. We don't want it leaking anywhere. Talk to us about that. Communicate with us. I know that we've given some extensions. It is, it's not necessarily the most easy thing to go out and just get an impermeable surface. So chat with us and we'll be able to make some accommodations. Tires, we don't really see that too much, but just in general, tires, no matter where you have them, they've got to be covered from the elements. It is mosquito season. Please be mindful. And leaves, temporary or seasonal collection and transfer. It's not necessarily leaf season right now, but we want to be mindful of when that season does begin, that we are not just keeping them, especially when we bring them back from the street, when you pick them up. When residents do put them out by the curbside. Compliance with other applicable laws and regulations includes but not limited to local land use or zoning. So oftentimes things can't be, a certain foot from a fence, whatever that is. We're as far as inspectors, we're looking at just really the top 3, but we want to make sure that we're not in wetlands. We want to make sure that everything is within local land use and zoning as well. Notification criteria, host municipality, host county, and the NJDEP. And I'm going to go through briefly the application and the notification form, so you'll be able to see how quick and how easy it is just by sending some emails out to who you have to notify. And then any reporting criteria. So Carol, if you do want to touch on that about like tonnage reports or things, I don't know how much you would have to do for that particularly, but.
Yeah, I mean, tonnage reports, most of the exemptions do require a report to be filed down to DEP every year of how much you're generating. So, I mean, most of the towns are going to know this because you're bringing it in, then you're having to send it out to a recycling facility, so you know how much you're sending out. So it shouldn't be that hard to notify the DEP how much you generated.
And so there's your answer. You're already doing it anyway, so just include it and send it by email down there, or your route. So yeah, so this is your this is the nuts and bolts of actually applying for it. So notification of exempt recycling activities. It's got your instruction there and highlighted there. You can read it. I'm not really going to read it too much for you, but all exemption, here's the note, all exemptions taking place with actions related to farming. I haven't seen any kind of alarming issues with the farming, but making sure we are not on any kind of wetlands. That's really what we're concerned about on that. But we want to make sure where we send it to, please send it to mail codes, their PO boxes or emails. But really key about this is to retrieve this document from Carol. Again, I will post her email one more time at the end. But we want to make sure that we're doing this the right way. So on the back end, we do not have to issue the violation. But talk to us, have those conversations with us. So basic operator information, this would be your information. Here is which exemptions, and we can go over that with you as well. Which numbers you're looking for. There's a whole list of numbers that would be applicable for you. You can apply for more than one, especially if you're doing like brush or asphalt and leaves, etc. If it's continuous, you can leave it on a continuous basis, or if it's just temporary. Street address, a lot of this is self-explanatory again, but it is just tedious. Continuing on with email contacts and approval and then operational description, and then certification. Make sure you sign this and that all things you know to be true. Otherwise, it's fairly self-explanatory. We want to make sure, though, again, like I said, I'm just going to keep drilling it home that we want to make sure you're all doing the right stuff, so that we don't have to issue those violations that we are continuing to see. So yeah, so my name is Brianne Peters. Like I said, Amber Schiffner is my solid waste supervisor here. Please, by all means, feel free to reach out to us. You can ask me questions now, and Carol would be your point person there for all your other questions, as well as that notification and application form. So,
Hey, Brianne, thank you very much.
Yeah.
That was an excellent overview. Any questions for Brianne?
we're good.
I have
All
one
right.
quick one, Brianne. I just wanted to ask, are any of the municipalities in the county accepting under a convenience center source separated food?
We don't have any food now. We do have we still have one permitted food, but we don't have anyone accepting currently at the time.
I know some of the towns in Union County do, but they're right next to the Elizabeth facility to bring
Yeah.
it to core. Yeah, so like
Well,
You'd have to ask Audrey that question. I know Audrey's on the call, but I don't know if Woodbridge has started yet.
we do have a lot of or a handful of municipalities that have like door-to-door composting, but that's through private or nonprofit or something, entities like that, or a drop center that comes once a week or something to their local farmers market, which is what I actually do participate in Highland Park. But otherwise, there's no necessarily like Class C composting
Right.
facility that's active right now.
We're working on that, right, Carol? Try
We'll
to liberalize
see.
the regs. for
There's
GDP.
the info building just separate 5.3 on the screen, and the individual will allow you to get in.
Was that for this? Okay.
I'm not sure what I'm hearing.
All right. All right. So that's it for me. Again, any questions, please feel free to reach out. That is our office phone number at the top. You will get one of us. And yeah, look forward to seeing some change.
Great, thank you again, Brianne. And I guess, Carol, if we haven't done so already, can we send the PowerPoint around to all the SWAC members?
Sure, we can.
Really
I will do that.
Really helpful.
Mhm.
All right, moving on, MCIA report.
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. Yeah, I have nothing to report other than the recap that was sent in. Pretty much basically the same information from month to month, just numbers change, but nothing else going on right now.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. On to our MCUA report. Mr. Paul Clark, good to see you, sir.
Thank you, Gary. Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. I just like the I don't have much new to report. Waste is up a fraction of amount over this time last year, about 2,000 tons. So we're running at about 254,000 tons for the first 6 months of the year. Other than that, that's about it. Operations are proceeding as normal.
Very good. Thank you, Paul.
Thanks.
Thank you, Carol. Carol, do we have any old business?
We do not.
All right, then we can move on to new business. We do have a plan amendment application 2024-1 for GDB International, which is a Class D recycling facility for latex paints and coatings in Middlesex Borough. Carol, you're gonna, I think we do have Representative Heather Prizzuti. Hi, Heather, how are you?
You're on mute,
You're on
Heather.
mute.
Hi, thank you.
Carol, do you want to introduce it all?
Sure. So this is, we haven't had a facility application in a very, very long time. So this, to remind everybody, this is going to be handled as a plan amendment, which is going to require 2 solid waste advisory council meetings. We are going to do a site visit in between this meeting and the August meeting. We do have to have a public hearing and then a full vote for inclusion by our Board of County Commissioners. So this is the first step. And Heather, I believe you're going to do the presentation on behalf of GDB and let us know what the plans are.
Yes, absolutely. So just to give you a little bit of background, I've been with GDB for about 18 years. The VP of Operations and our facilities in Middlesex County. And so I'll just kind of get into what GDB does. And we started about 30 years ago with post-consumer paint recycling and paint recycling in general. So our business started with taking the leftover paints from the paint industry, the major manufacturers, and recycling that product to be reused and put back on the walls. So let's see if I can get my screen to change here. There we go. So at our New Jersey location, what we're looking at doing is strictly recycling latex paints. And so we would be bringing in the paint that's collected from the retail stores or from the HHW events or through the Paint Care program out of the state of New York, and recycling that material back into a usable paint. So that would entail that product coming in cubic yard or Gaylord boxes, stacked nicely. When that product comes into our facility, we do a thorough inspection and verification of the materials. We typically put out a acceptable and non-acceptable program list of items that we can take and recycle and items we can't, which basically just mirrors what Paint Care is doing. And so we are checking that when that product comes in, that's product that we can rework. So at this stage, you're looking to make sure that no flammable products came. So if I saw a cubic yard box that had maybe a flammable 3 placard or something like that on it, it would be rejected. That the cans have labels, that the product is identifiable, it's not leaking all over the place, and it's in a shippable condition. And so we also receive in the roll-off containers. So things collected at HHW events would be stacked in the roll-off and then brought to our facility, where we would take all of the cans off of out of the roll-off, stack them nicely, 5 gallon on one pallet, 1 gallon on another, and quarts on another, to be brought into our facility to be processed. And this is just more pictures of that. So we lay tarp down. We want to ensure that there's no possibility if something's going to leak, or maybe somebody drops a can or something like that, that we have complete containment from getting any product on the ground. And part of our process is the product comes in, once it's been inspected, then we do a sorting process. So this is looking at each individual can, reading the label, kicking out anything, again, that's non-programmed. So maybe something that says alkyd or oil based on it, we would, would go out to the side. We definitely don't want to pour any latex with the oil. It would contaminate the entire batch. So we do that sorting process, and then we inspect it, open the cans, inspect the material inside. We'll mix the can for color, for uniformity, because it's settled for so long typically that the solids and the color in the bottom, so it's hard to know what color it is and how to pour it. So we'll mix the product. A lot of times contractors or people who use it, they take their rollers, paintbrushes, whatever, just kind of drop it inside of the container and put the lid back on. So we're looking for anything like that, anything that's maybe frozen, solid, bacterial contamination, those kind of things that could affect the bigger batches that we're pouring it into. And then it goes through the pouring process. So we bulk everything by color family. So you would bulk all the blue shades with the blues, the red shades with the reds, grays and blacks together, yellows. And then we put it on a high-speed disperser, kind of break up any possible grit or big chunks or anything like that. We have a team of chemists. They will test the product, make sure that the product is good, and then it'll go through our filtration process to get rid of any grit or particulates or anything like that. And then we'll test it again, do shade matching, maybe add some raw materials and those kind of things to make it increase the longevity of the product for shelf life. And then once everything's done, we have retained samples that we keep on hand, and then package the paint in our private label, in our Evolve brand, or in possibly a customer's private label if requested. So that's basically the process. And this just shows the sorting, the hands-on cans being pulled out, inspected, segregated. Anything non-program at this point will be quarantined in on pallets. And then, if it's an oil-based material that we're not going to open and pour, it'll be set aside to go through further processing later, where we will go through it and determine, is this a hazardous waste that has to be handled as such, or is this a product I can recycle? So GDB has facilities across the US. We have our main locations in Illinois, which is where I'm based out of, and we have an oil-based paint recycling facility here that's able to rework some of the oil-based stuff. So if it can't be reworked, it would go out and be shipped off-site as a hazardous waste. If it can be reworked, then it will be sent to our other facility for reprocessing and reworking there. And that's done at a later sort. So this just kind of shows that process again. The paint is opened, mixed, where they figure out the color, they inspect it, We use, regular kitchen spatulas to scrape all of the paint out of the can to get as much excess paint out of the can as we possibly can. It's basically a gravity fed system. So you tip the can upside down, the paint comes out, and goes into a 250-gallon tote. And the cans go for drying before they are recycled. So this just kind of shows more of that process. Once the paint is bulked and the tote is full, we'll go put it on the high-speed disperser. We will mix the totes to get the uniform color, make a standard color. And some of this product is sold in the US. Although recycled paint's not a huge thing in the US yet, we're hopefully working towards that in the future. Some of the paint does go in the overseas markets as well. And so, and I'll show you that in a minute, where we make our own standard colors of this recycled paint. But those paints that can't be reworked into those standard colors, we have customers in export markets who aren't picky. They don't go to Home Depot and get to choose from, 50 years, probably more than that, shades of a red, and then they still can't decide which one they want. They're happy that, they got a red. So, and it's USA made quality, which is typically better than the quality that they get in their home country. So this is the mixing and processing. And then once the product's been mixed and it's got a uniform color, we will pass it through a 300 micron filtration system, just to make sure that we get out any fine grit that we couldn't get, and that we have a smooth finish at the end of the product. So this just shows filtration and QC. So to get those uniform colors and those 16 standard colors, it may require us to add a little bit of pigment colorant, some slurry titanium dioxide for better hiding, emulsion. We want to increase the sheen to make it a good, maybe a satin or a semi-gloss kind of product, although most are eggshell. And so we have chemists and R&D team who are experts at this, and this is what they do to make those standard shades. And so, as I mentioned, we keep retain labs for all the batches that we make on hand for 3 years, just in case there's any concerns later with a shipment that a customer got. But we do testing at the time the batch is finished and packaged and ready to go. And then we do testing again before the product ships out the door. In the US, it's not such a big deal, but when you're shipping products in the export markets, the landed cost by the time you have, taxes, duties, overseas freight, everything, the landed cost is pretty expensive. So we absolutely want to make sure that our customers getting a product that they can use and that they can sell. So it goes through a lot of different tests for durability. We do some weather testing, the sheen testing and all that kind of stuff, hiding. And then once the product's good, it'll go for packaging. So we will package the product typically into 1 gallon or 5 gallon pails. In our label, which is again Evolve, or it would go into one of our customers' private labels for their markets. And so this just shows our different packaging lines that we have. We do some porch and floor, different lines as well. And so different colors. We can make small batch colors and those kind of things for customers who request specific colors if we can make it. And then the packaging is also recycled. So we shred the 5 gallon pails, the buckets. We typically set those in a pyramid, let them dry out, and then they go through the shred process where we break them down and then send them off to a recycler. The metals typically baled and sent off to a metal recycler. Cardboard is sent to a recycler, pallets. I mean, basically anything that we can recycle, our goal is to keep it out of the landfills and to reuse it or recycle it. So titanium bags, cardboard, whatever it is. And that's kind of what we present ourselves as. We are a recycler. We're not a waste company. We don't receive waste or take care of waste. We are basically recycling the product to have it reused and to keep it out of the landfill. So like I mentioned, our product goes through some heavy testing, odor testing, durability testing, coverage, smooth finish, washable, low VOC. And so we want to make sure that people see the value in a recycled paint product and don't see it as subpar to, a brand new manufactured product. And so this is just the 16 standard colors that we make. And again, we make some other colors aside from that, but these kind of seem to be the most requested or wanted colors. And then we also have some of our own stores. We've opened our own Evolve stores to get the word out there about the recycled paint. We also work with the University of Michigan. We bring interns in the paint and coatings industry and do training with them and work with them to come up with new ideas to recycle as much of the paint product as we can. So you get that frozen, gelled, or solidified paint. And so we're looking for avenues to even further increase that recycling percentage. And this is just more pictures of our stores and so, apart from recycling the paint, GDB likes to give. We have, our CSR programs where we do Caring with Color. We paint a lot of schools. We just donated a bunch of paint to New York City to do some murals for some schools. We did the New York City Marathon. We donate bicycles to schools which doesn't have a lot to do with paint, but our CEO's son just came up with that program to give schools or families a bicycle whose children were walking long distances to get to school so that they could get there quicker, they could get there with less energy and have more focus kind of thing. So we've been awarded by, we've been CHUMEG audited several of our facilities. Our CEO was the founding president of IPRA, which is the International Paint Recycling Association. One of our facilities is ISO certified. That's not the Middlesex facility, but we've gotten awards through the North American Hazardous Management Materials Association. And so we take pride in all that we do. In 30 years, just our journey in numbers, we have over 2.2 million square foot. We have warehouses across the US that handle these kind of paint recycling operations. We bring in 6,000 truckloads in and out a year through all of our facilities, a majority of that being in our Illinois facility, which is almost 1 million square feet. And we've recycled 13 million gallons of leftover paint and collected it and recycled. So 2.1 million pounds of wash solvent handled and 1.7 billion pounds of oil and latex paint recycled so far. So just kind of give you an idea of what we've done. And we hope that our journey does not stop there. We're constantly looking for more avenues to help keep these products out of our landfills. So, and that is all for me.
Thank you, Heather. That was really an excellent overview. Open the floor for questions for Heather.
Carol, this is Dave Fleiker.
Oh,
Yeah.
hi,
How
Dave.
are you? I have a few questions, if it's okay.
Please. Yes.
Just out of curiosity, is all the material kept within the facility? Is the trucks unloaded and unloaded in the facility? Is anything processed outside or?
It's all done inside the facility. The only thing done outside would be offloading the roll-off, and then that product would go into our warehouse for processing.
Okay. And what are your proposed hours of operation?
We typically work 7 to 3:30 Monday through Friday.
Okay. What happens when you do get contaminated material or hazardous material that you do not want? what do you do with that product if the truck that's dropping it off is already gone?
So we would do a waste determination. We would segregate that material out and put it in our hazardous waste 90-day area, and then work with a waste hauler to ship that stuff off site to be handled as a hazardous waste.
Okay, and then that would lead into another question. With the size facility you're proposing here, what size is your 90-day area approximately, if you even have a general idea for your hazardous waste?
Our hazardous waste area is probably only like 200 to 300 square feet. It's not a big area.
Not large. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
just trying to get a general idea.
Yeah.
And what size square footage is this warehouse approximately?
About 50,000 square feet.
Okay. And do you know how many staff you may have approximately?
Currently, we have probably about 8 to 10 staff. We're hoping to get more volume and hopefully get more contracts and that sort of thing, maybe in the state of New Jersey as well, counties and that kind of thing. So that is the plan, is to hopefully increase and bring more jobs there as well.
Okay. Do you know right now how many trucks are inbound or outbound?
On a daily basis, I would say probably 1 truck a day.
That's
Yeah.
all I have for now, Carol.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks for leading us off, Dave. It's always, nobody ever wants to ask the first question, so I appreciate you jumping in.
Okay. Thank you, Heather. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, you're welcome.
In fact, I stand corrected. Heather, is there any way that we can get a copy of your presentation?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I could email it over to Carol
Yep, and I can
if
send it
that
out.
works. Okay,
Yep.
perfect.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
Now I'm
Heather,
finished, Carol.
Really, I wanted to ask Heather, your customer base, it's, I think you said it's predominantly international. Is it primarily South America, Africa, Europe? Like, where's the customer base primarily?
So in the US market, we do like Habitat for Humanity stores and Ollie's Bargain Outlet, which is, I think, more predominant probably on the East Coast, and things like that. In the export market, we're in about 45 countries. So the post-consumer paint is going to places like Honduras and Africa and Mexico. I would say those are probably the top 3. Dubai, probably in the top 4 countries that the post-consumer paint's going to.
Very interesting. I think we need to work with you to increase the domestic use of these
Yes.
paints, right?
We would love that.
Yeah.
So we also sell our paint on Amazon.
Cool. Hey, any other questions for Heather? Okay, otherwise, thank you, Heather. Again, that was a terrific overview. And Carol, we need to form a site visit team, yes?
We need to form a site visit team. Dave Sliker, are you going to chair that team, or am I looking for Douglas Rex to chair that team?
Either or. I think you probably
Okay.
reach out to Douglas first, and then if he
Okay.
declines, and give me a call and I'll chair it.
Okay. So we're going to, because we're, trying to get this all done before before the August 13th SWAC meeting, looking at my calendar here. So if we could do a site visit the week of July 29th into August 2nd. So if people are available that week, raise your hand and I'll write names down, and I'll touch base with Heather and make sure that whichever day we pick. So Gary Sondermeyer, Dave Sliker, oh boy, Guy Gaspari, thank you. Let me see who I'm missing. Let me go. It's hard to manage this on Teams to see who's raising hands. East Brunswick, so it's Mark, I presume. Okay. All right, I think I got everybody. I think that's a good start.
Hey, Carol,
Yes.
would this be considered a class 3 recycling facility? I missed the last one because of scheduling problems.
This is a Class D recycling facility,
Ah, okay.
so not an
Well,
A.
that-
So you still have to tour somewhere else.
Yeah,
You have to.
uh,
We'll set another tour up in September. So not to
okay,
worry. And there was others who
okay.
missed too.
You got it. All right, I'll make sure we get to that one. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So as usual, if you guys think of any questions in between now and the August SWAC meeting, please get them to me so I can get them to Heather so we can get them answered on time. And other than that, I will grab the presentation and email that out to everyone along with Brienne's presentation.
Sounds
Okay.
great. And Heather, thank you again for joining us and for the thorough overview. Much appreciated.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And Carol, congratulations on your anniversary tomorrow.
Yeah. Bye. Great number.
Thank you, I think. Okay,
New business, correct?
no other new business?
All right, then I'd like to open the floor for any general public input. All right, seeing none, we will be having an August SWAC meeting on Tuesday, August 13th. And anything else for the good of the cause, Carol?
Nothing that I have.
All right, anyone else? Otherwise, I hope everyone has a great balance of July and beginning of August, and we'll see you on August 13th. Motion
We
to
just need-
adjourn.
Nick
Okay, I was
Smolny
gonna
makes
say-
a motion to adjourn.
All right, second.
I see Mark Coleman raising his hand.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Be safe and stay cool. Thank you, everyone. Take care.
Okay.
Thanks, everybody.
Have a
Thank
good
you.
summer.
Thank you. I wonder if you can stop recording me. Yeah, it's still recording. It's more. Where is it? Yeah, Medallion's still in the meeting. And Casey's still in the meeting. Yeah, the three dots. Recording. Yeah, click on that and then go stop recording.